This is the first time that I'm speaking about it. It's something that I'll never forget.
A former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs speaking out in the new interview with new allegations about wild parties.
Here we go. Get ready for a jaw-dropping deep dive into one of the most chaotic, scandal-packed celebrity dramas of the decade. Picture this, one of hip-hop's biggest icons, Sean Diddy Combs, a man who built an empire on charisma, talent, and sheer hustle, now finds himself at the center of a whirlwind of allegations, lawsuits, and leaked tapes that could shake the entertainment industry to its core. It's the kind of story where every twist feels more shocking than the last, and trust us, there's a lot to unpack here, so buckle up because this is a tale of fame, power, and scandal like you've never heard before.
Did Phil explain why he's speaking out now?
He said he's speaking out because he believes Diddy's a predator, he wants accountability, and he doesn't want someone like this to run unchecked in the future.
Let's start with the headlines that have been dominating social media and news outlets for months now. Sean Combs, the man affectionately known as Diddy, Puff Daddy, or simply Puff, is no stranger to controversy. But this time, the stakes are higher than ever. We're talking accusations of misconduct spanning decades, courtroom theatrics that would make the best crime dramas look tame, and a slew of leaked recordings that have left the public stunned and divided. And then there's the sheer number of lawsuits stacking up against him, each one more shocking than the last. It's a saga that has everyone asking, has Diddy's carefully curated empire finally crumbled under the weight of its secrets?
He was responsible for Diddy's day-to-day life, so he is able to provide a lot of information about what that life was like. He goes into detail on extensive use.
The drama really kicked into high gear when an explosive lawsuit was filed against Diddy's son, Christian King Combs. Now, Christian might not have the same spotlight as his father, but this lawsuit dragged both father and son into the fray, alleging some seriously disturbing behavior aboard a yacht. While Christian faced direct accusations, Sean Combs was named for supposedly enabling and facilitating the situation. And then came the audio. Leaked recordings that CNN reportedly reviewed, where the alleged victim claimed she was forced to partake in activities against her will after being given a drink she believed was spiked. The lawsuit sent shockwaves through the industry, not because it was the first time Diddy's name had been linked to controversy, but because it marked the start of a domino effect. If the walls of Diddy's empire weren't already cracking, this lawsuit was the sledgehammer that began to take them down.
And I know you said he explained all of the items that were involved in these Wild King nights. Did he mention who would participate as well?
A lot of them were unknown to him. He did mention that a lot of the women were very, very young as 20, not underage, but certainly.
But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Things escalated further with Diddy's subsequent arrest in September 2024. The charges against him? Let's just say they read like the plot of a gritty Netflix series. According to the U.S. Justice Department, Diddy's business empire allegedly operated like a criminal enterprise, with accusations ranging from trafficking to racketeering. Prosecutors painted a chilling picture of a man who used his wealth, influence, and resources to intimidate, control, and manipulate those around him. They even claimed he had created an elaborate network to cover his tracks, relying on employees and associates to ensure his alleged activities stayed under wraps. This wasn't just about one or two isolated incidents. Prosecutors alleged a pattern of behavior spanning years, maybe decades.
Wait a minute, say that again. Say that again, back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of.
And let's not forget the leaked audio recordings that have kept the internet buzzing. These aren't just any random clips. They allegedly include conversations involving Diddy himself, as well as other major celebrities like Beyonce and Meek Mill. One particularly eyebrow-raising recording reportedly featured Beyonce defending her presence at Diddy's infamous parties, claiming that everyone who attended knew what they were getting into. The leaked footage has sent social media into a frenzy, with fans dissecting every word and speculating about who knew what and when. For someone like Diddy, who's always controlled his narrative with precision, these leaks are nothing short of catastrophic.
It sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so it's, to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping.
Now, here's where things truly enter the realm of the bizarre. During one of the raids on Diddy's properties, authorities reportedly seized an enormous quantity of, you won't believe this, baby oil. Yes, baby oil. And while it might sound trivial, this detail has become one of the most talked about aspects of the case. Why? Because whispers and rumors about the role of this seemingly innocent product in Diddy's private gatherings have been swirling for years. It's the kind of odd, almost surreal detail that makes this case even harder to look away from. In fact, one accuser has come forward suggesting that the baby oil played a key role in what she describes as ritualistic activities at Diddy's gatherings. If nothing else, it's a detail that keeps this story firmly planted in the public's imagination.
Did in fact occur, their argument is more than likely going to be that this activity was consensual, that this person was a willing participant, and not only that, but that these individuals assumed the risk of being present at those parties, of engaging and voluntarily engaging in the conduct and being in those spaces, consuming alcohol and things of that nature.
Of course, we can't talk about the accusations without addressing the alleged use of substances at these gatherings. Former assistants, insiders, and even paid companions have described scenes that sound straight out of a Hollywood thriller. One former employee claimed that he was tasked with procuring various items, everything from high-end libations to performance enhancers, and that these items would often be used during what some are calling themed night. And while these claims remain unverified, they have fueled a narrative that Diddy's world was one where excess wasn't just encouraged, it was expected.
A lot of times you have him with a younger female, and there's a power dynamic there. A more impressionable girl is easier to reel in. Consent is between the people that are engaging, and I wasn't there in these situations to understand the consent.
It's also worth noting the eerie silence from Diddy's celebrity friends and collaborators. Over the years, Diddy has been one of the most connected figures in Hollywood. He's thrown parties that have hosted everyone from politicians to A-list actors to members of the British royal family. Yet, in the wake of these accusations, many of his high-profile acquaintances have remained noticeably quiet. Could it be that they're afraid of being implicated? There are rumors, unconfirmed of course, that Diddy kept a vault of compromising material on some of the biggest names in the industry. If true, it would explain why so many are opting to stay out of the spotlight for now. Adding another layer of intrigue is the ongoing speculation about Diddy's mental state. Reports from inside the Metropolitan Detention Center suggest that Diddy has had moments of extreme distress. One insider claimed he suffered a meltdown after realizing he would likely spend the holidays behind bars. Another source, however, dismissed this as an exaggeration, saying that Diddy has been practicing meditation and breathing exercises to keep his composure. Either way, the contrast between his current reality and his former life of luxury couldn't be starker. As one legal expert put it, the man who once ruled the music world now finds himself fighting for basic privileges like access to a laptop in jail.
We're monitoring another push to free Sean Diddy Combs tonight, with his legal team citing new evidence in an updated bail proposal. The music mogul agreeing to around-the-clock security and cutting out contact with basically anyone but his legal team to get out of jail ahead of his trial scheduled for May of next year for charges he allegedly coerced and abused women for years.
And let's not forget the courtroom drama itself. During one of his pre-trial hearings, Diddy's legal team argued that the conditions at the detention center were making it nearly impossible for him to prepare for his defense. They requested access to a laptop, citing the sheer volume of evidence they need to review. The judge's response, a firm reminder that Diddy is subject to the same rules as every other inmate. It's a humbling moment for a man who once seemed untouchable. And it's a reminder that, in the eyes of the law, even billionaires don't get special treatment.
Everybody familiar with the old Houdini? So what Diddy's lawyers are trying to do is pull a Houdini. They're trying to say that the evidence that they have is different. Well, it's not different. The video that the entire world has seen is not going to go away. The fact that he had parties that were freak-offs is not going away. So it's just a question of whether or not Diddy is
The intensity of the legal proceedings is matched only by the media frenzy surrounding them. Every leaked document, every courtroom appearance, and every new allegation becomes headline news, fueling a public appetite for details about the case. Documentaries and exposés are being churned out at an astonishing rate, each one promising to uncover the real Diddy. But with so much information and misinformation floating around, it's hard to separate fact from fiction. What's clear, however, is that this case has become a cultural touchstone, forcing us to confront uncomfortable questions about power, privilege, and accountability in the entertainment industry. And yet, despite the mounting allegations and the damning evidence, there's a sense that Diddy isn't going down without a fight. His legal team, led by the formidable Mark Agnifilo, has been working tirelessly to poke holes in the prosecution's case. They've argued that many of the accusations are based on hearsay and that the leaked recordings have been taken out of context. Agnifilo has also emphasized Diddy's past philanthropic efforts, painting him as a flawed but ultimately good-hearted individual. It's a strategy designed to humanize him in the eyes of the jury, but whether it will work remains to be seen.
At the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the judge ordering the prosecution to turn over its findings from a jail cell raid, Diddy's jail cell, just yesterday. What were the contents of those raids?
Well, apparently, according to the defense, they're legal documents. The government's saying no, on the contrary, they're just some handwritten notes and a calendar.
As the May trial date looms, the world is watching with bated breath. Will more explosive details come to light? Will Diddy's celebrity allies finally break their silence? Or will this saga end with one of hip-hop's most iconic figures being held accountable for his actions? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over, and the next chapter promises to be just as gripping as the last. Now let's dive even deeper into this jaw-dropping tale of fame, power, and scandal. If you thought the first part of this story was wild, brace yourself, because what's coming next takes things to a whole new level. Sean Diddy Combs, once the king of hip-hop and a symbol of success and swagger, now finds himself engulfed in one of the most gripping legal sagas we've ever seen. And the courtroom chaos surrounding his case isn't just about the allegations, it's also about the people involved, the secrets being spilled, and the ripple effects shaking the entire entertainment industry.
So there's a few things going on. First is the privilege issue. The judge will decide whether the documents are privileged or not. If they're not, they're going to go to the government. If the documents are not only not privileged, but they're evidence of witness tampering, then a few things can happen, all of which are bad for Sean Diddy Combs. Okay. First, of course, he did face obstruction of justice charges in a superseding indictment.
Picture this, Diddy, a man who once walked red carpets with unmatched confidence, now sitting in a courtroom surrounded by lawyers, judges, and spectators, with the weight of decades of accusations pressing down on him. And right behind him, his family, his children, and even his mother, all gathered in a show of solidarity. During one hearing, he reportedly turned around to blow kisses to his loved ones, a rare glimpse of vulnerability from a man who built his brand on being untouchable. But don't be fooled, this is no heartwarming family drama. It's a high-stakes battle for his legacy, his freedom, and maybe even his future.
Yeah, they probably didn't see these notes, and they never will.
But if you're Diddy, don't you, want your notes back?
Yeah.
If you've spent so many hours, gathering, evidence for your side or, strategy or whatever, for me, I'd be like, oh no, please don't destroy, please return.
The pretrial hearings themselves have been a spectacle, with Diddy's legal team pulling every trick in the book to defend their client. One of their main complaints? The conditions in the Metropolitan Detention Center where Diddy has been held since his arrest. His lawyers argued that the lack of access to proper resources, like a laptop, was making it nearly impossible for him to prepare for his defense. They painted a picture of a man fighting not only the charges against him, but also the system itself. But if you think the judge was swayed, think again. The court made it clear that Diddy isn't above the rules, no matter how famous or powerful he might be. It's a stark reminder that even the man who once seemed larger than life is now subject to the same restrictions as any other inmate. And then there's the testimony. Oh, the testimony. If you've been following the case, you know that some of the most shocking revelations have come from people who were once part of Diddy's inner circle. Take Phil Pines, for example, Diddy's former senior executive assistant. Pines has been one of the most vocal insiders, spilling the tea on what he describes as a world of excess, manipulation, and control. From the so-called wild nights to the bizarre requests he says he had to fulfill, Pines' accounts have added a new level of intrigue to the case. He even recalled being pressured to participate in one of these infamous gatherings, describing it as a moment that forever changed his life. According to Pines, loyalty wasn't just a value in Diddy's world, it was a test, one that came with consequences if you dared to fail.
Everyone keeps saying to me, how did you keep, why did you keep going? Why were you there? I'm like, it literally is around me. If I don't stay at home, this is the atmosphere I'm in. I have no choice.
What's even more unsettling is the level of detail Pines provided about the aftermath of these events. He described walking into rooms that looked like scenes out of a movie, dim lighting, scattered items, and an eerie silence that hinted at the chaos that had just unfolded. Pines claimed he was often left to clean up the mess, a task that included everything from tidying up to ensuring no evidence of the night's activities was left behind. It's the kind of story that makes you wonder, how many others were involved in covering up what went on behind closed doors? And how long did this go on before someone finally decided to speak out?
And he is very, very dominant. Like, he wants to control the situation. He wants to control his inner circle. He wants to make everyone have a good time and enjoy his parties. And so, you know, it is scary because you think, you know, this person or possibly his social network or the people he's around could make or break your career.
But Pines isn't the only one lifting the curtain on Diddy's private world. Another former associate, identified only as Nathan, has come forward with allegations that paint an equally disturbing picture. Nathan, who described himself as someone hired for specific services, claimed that Diddy's gatherings were anything but ordinary. He described them as ritualistic, with every detail carefully planned and choreographed. Nathan even alleged that Diddy had a habit of watching from the shadows, using mirrors or other tricks to observe without being seen. These claims, whether true or not, have only added fuel to the fire, with people speculating about what really went on at these exclusive events. And let's not forget about the tapes, those infamous recordings that have been the subject of endless speculation. While we don't know exactly what's on them, rumors suggest that they could include footage of some of Diddy's most high-profile friends and collaborators. Imagine the implications if those tapes were to see the light of day. It's no wonder many celebrities who were once close to Diddy have chosen to stay silent. After all, who knows what secrets those recordings might reveal?
I mean, that fact in of itself is a big deal, because when you're talking about going back in time and talking about these allegations from other alleged victims, you know, there's not a lot of police reports, but you guys actually have one. And is that going to be revealed? Are we going to be able to see it?
Yes, as soon as I file my lawsuit in civil court, I will be attaching the...
Speaking of silence, let's talk about the eerie hush from Hollywood's elite. Over the years, Diddy has been a magnetic figure in the entertainment world, forming connections with everyone from A-list actors to chart-topping musicians. Yet, as this scandal unfolds, many of his famous friends have remained conspicuously quiet. Is it loyalty, fear, or perhaps something more sinister? There's speculation that Diddy kept a treasure trove of information, let's call it, on those around him. If true, it would explain why so many are choosing to keep their distance now. After all, in a world where image is everything, the last thing anyone wants is to be dragged down by association.
Still pretty early in the proceedings. I think it's only been about a month or a month and a half since he's been arraigned and held in detention. And so the investigations are always going to be a continuous and ongoing process. I'm sure at this point there's been an exchange of discovery. And not only that, but I think there's been a gag order placed on the attorneys with information that they can and cannot share. But more importantly...
But despite the mounting allegations, Diddy's legal team is fighting back with everything they've got. They've dismissed many of the claims as baseless, arguing that the evidence presented so far doesn't hold up under scrutiny. One of their key strategies has been to challenge the credibility of the accusers, pointing out inconsistencies in their stories and questioning their motives. It's a classic defense tactic, but in a case as high profile as this one, it's also a risky move. But after all, public opinion can be just as powerful as a jury's verdict. And right now, the court of public opinion is anything but kind to Diddy. And then there's the question of the trial itself. Scheduled for May, it promises to be one of the most closely watched legal battles in recent history. Prosecutors are expected to bring a mountain of evidence to the table, including witness testimonies, recordings, and perhaps even those infamous tapes. Meanwhile, Diddy's defense team will be working overtime to poke holes in the prosecution's case, painting their client as a victim of a media frenzy and opportunistic accusers. It's a battle that will undoubtedly be fought not just in the courtroom, but also in the headlines, with every twist and turn dissected by the public in real time.
No, I'm not surprised by the ruling because, as she cited in her order, there are very serious allegations about the danger that he potentially poses to other witnesses and the public at large. There are allegations that he has, been violent with others. He's also attempted to allegedly intimidate other witnesses and still contact witnesses while incarcerated.
As we inch closer to the trial date, the big question remains. What's next for Sean Diddy Combs? Can he reclaim his throne as one of hip-hop's most influential figures? Or has his empire been irreparably damaged? And what about the broader implications for the entertainment industry? This case has already sparked conversations about accountability, power dynamics, and the dark side of fame. But will it lead to real change? Or will it simply become another cautionary tale in a long list of celebrity scandals?
Both sides in the Sean Diddy Combs case have until today to give answers for how the music mogul has been communicating from jail. Combs appearing in court last Friday seeking bail while he awaits trial. He's been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since September.
One thing's for sure, the story of Sean Combs is far from over. With every new revelation, every leaked recording, and every courtroom appearance, the narrative continues to evolve. It's a saga that has captivated the world, not just because of the man at its center, but because of what it says about the industry he helped build. So stay tuned, because if there's one thing we've learned from this case, it's that the truth has a way of coming out no matter how deeply it's buried. And when it does, it just might change everything. As the saga of Sean Diddy Combs continues to unfold, viewers are left with more questions than answers. How deep do these allegations go? And who else might be implicated? Will the entertainment industry finally confront its darker side? Or will this scandal fade into the background like so many before it? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and see where this roller coaster ride takes us next. Until then, stay tuned for more updates, and thanks for joining us on this wild journey through the world of celebrity drama. Goodbye for now.